Hello everyone and welcome back to a brand new video where today we are here with round 7 of our F122 Haas Road to Glory. Yes, if you missed out on the last video that went live last week from Spain, I would highly recommend going back and checking it out. But today we're at the jewel in the Formula 1 crown. It's the Monaco Grand Prix time, the one that they all want to win, and maybe, just maybe, this could be a good track for our car. They can see plenty of upgrades still in the works on the aero side of things. However, I think we might be able to try and get another one going onto the car. So we'll try then and get the undernose turning vanes. Or we won't because we've maxed out our capacity on that department. We could go with some brake calipers. We could actually afford a rear floor under tray, which would be quite a big upgrade. So you know what, we'll try and get that on the car then. That should be going on then, ready for the Canadian Grand Prix in a couple of weekends' time. But of course, a very, very fierce development race going on at this stage of the year. Not much separates us, Ferrari, or Red Bull at the top of the championship. Speaking of which, Drivers' Championship, Max Verstappen leads the way, 5 points clear of ourselves there with both Ferraris in 3rd and 4th. K-Mag down in 7th place there behind Lando Norris, means Constructors were a little way off in P3 there. Red Bull again leading that championship by just 5 solitary points. But yeah, hopefully the Monaco Grand Prix though can try and be a happy hunting ground for us. If you're new around here as well, please do make sure to leave a like and get yourself subscribed for daily Formula 1 and other F1 related content. But yeah, let's get into it though. Monaco Grand Prix, fingers crossed we can deliver a good result. Right, well here we are then, qualifying day from Monaco, and the most important qualifying session of the year is about to get underway. There's a very thin chance of rain towards the end of the session, but the track is meant to get worse and worse as qualifying goes on, so trying to make sure we get a lap nailed early on is going to be absolutely critical here. We're going to need a lot of sweat mode laps, I feel. A knock there on the wall as we head in towards the final couple of corners. You don't find time around Monaco without trying to push up towards the limits, and lucky to get away with that one out of the final corner up towards the start-finish line. It's going to be a 1:10.9. Somehow that's fastest early on in the session. I don't believe that'll stay there. And there we go, we have been relegated down to P6, but of course Monaco's such a short lap. You've got every opportunity to do 3 runs around this place, and it looks like we're going to have free track space as well. Let's try and find about another 4 tenths, as that is very, very late on the brakes, but we gather it up nicely. Lose ever so slightly off the corner, but still a good run. A bit more tidy then on this second lap, but still not able to find much time as out the final corner will go. Going to be about a 2/10 improvement just under there. That's going to promote us back to P3. It's always nice to hit the Armco after your lap, but Lando Norris currently fastest, and it's a British 1-2-3 for now. Well, George Russell has just decided to make it 4 of us there, as trying to stay out the way of Mick Schumacher. We've got so many cars trying to come through for laps here as we're trying to get ready for our final one. We'll let Verstappen by and then we'll try and go for it out of the final corner. Currently a 1-2-3-4 for the British drivers here, but we've got to try and find another couple of tenths to put this thing on pole. Corner. It was a big send through the final turn. It is going to be improvement. Max Verstappen, though, on 1:10.3, and we are going to go 7th Everyone improved on the final runs there. I did not know that, and that's not been the qualifying we needed.
And with qualifying complete, let's review our top 3 today. Verstappen, Leclerc and Lando Norris. Goodbye for now then, but really we're just getting started. Make sure to join us again for Lights Out tomorrow.
Well, I was always a bit worried this track was not going to suit our car there, and it has proven to be the case this weekend. We have theoretically got the fastest car in F1 right now, and 7th and 13th place might say otherwise around the streets of Monaco there. But it is Max Verstappen on pole ahead of Charles Leclerc, Lando Norris P3. Gutted, I'm sure, to miss out on pole there right at the very end, but we've just got to get into it. I think, again, it might be a race of damage limitation, but fingers crossed Monaco can deliver some magic.
A proper road race, and in the true meaning of the word. That's how Mr. Monaco, the late great Graham Hill, once described this iconic event. The cars we drive have come a long way in the intervening half-century, but still we race on those same public roads beside the Mediterranean. There's no victory more coveted than that of the Monaco Grand Prix. Off the back of a fantastic qualifying session, it's time to see how our starting grid looks like for today's race. World champion Max Verstappen starts from pole position, and it's Charles Leclerc in P2. Moving on to the rest of the grid, we have Norris, Russell, and Sir Lewis Hamilton, and Perez. Mr. Monaco, Bottas, Sainz, and Pierre Gasly. Tsunoda, Albon, Kevin Magnussen and Ocon, Ricciardo, Mick Schumacher, Sebastian Vettel and Guan Yu Zhou. Latifi and Lance Stroll brings the grid to a close. Now it's almost time for Lights Out, so let's go down to the track.
Okay, now that we've got some good points on the board, let's continue this form and aim for another top 10 finish.
You know what? Around Monaco, I'm not convinced a top 10 finish is particularly optimistic there. We've just got to try and control the damage, of course. We didn't do that particularly well last weekend in Barcelona, but we always knew these 2 weekends were going to be quite tough there. Just does not suit our car, hence why we're trying to bring more aero and chassis upgrades to the Haas at the moment there. But starting P7 then for the Monaco Grand Prix, looks like everyone is going to be starting on mediums. I guess all we can really hope for is perhaps that the car is slightly quicker in race trim, and that we can try and pick our way through. But yeah, again, I'm expecting, unless we get a well-timed safety car, this one to probably be, again, damage limitation at most. Around in the final corner then, of course, the start as well, absolutely critical around the Monaco Grand Prix. And if you've been keeping up with the My Team career mode, we're having to bring in some cheeky strats to try and make sure that we get good starts on F1 22, so let's do it. Gotta try and get the temperature in. Oh, it doesn't work at Monaco. It's far too small a circuit, but the right idea was there. Lining up then on the grid, ready for the Monaco Grand Prix. Maybe we can get to the inside of Checo, ready for turn 1 there. Only the green score this time round, but waiting on that Stroll to round out the grid. We've got Bottas behind us. Weird seeing him backing it out for a male, of course, as he spent so much time dominating in his McLaren. But waiting on the 5 red lights. Lights out, and away we go. And looks like Bottas and Carlos Sainz have got off to a rocket ship launch as we head down in towards turn 1. We've still got Pierre Gasly, trying to get around the outside of us. There is another snap of oversteer as we head out of the first corner. So down 3 places then off the start of the Monaco Grand Prix. There was not what we needed, but we need to try and be aggressive, I think, on this opening lap there. As you can see, Sainz to the inside of Bottas. We're going to have a look to the inside of Pierre then, as Bottas is just going to get squeezed out. You know what? We'll try and have him as well up the inside of the flying fin. And there we go in all of that. We've only lost the 1 spot to Carlos Sainz there. We're clearly trying to be very, very aggressive early on the Monaco streets. But, you know, I suppose we didn't recover that quite nicely then, as of course now, early on, it would probably just be a case of setting it down, as Charles Leclerc, homeboy, has jumped Max Verstappen off the start as well. So exactly what Charles Leclerc would have wanted in this Monaco Grand Prix. Lando Norris stays P3 ahead of both Mercs, as well. Careful through to back on that one there. Tiny bit of front inside lock-in on the way in. Just meant we had to be a little bit careful and a little bit compromised on the exit, but rounding through the final couple of corners though of this opening lap. Monaco is such a difficult test in a Formula 1 car, especially these big, heavy, quite cumbersome F1 cars that we're currently using with the new generation. But as we head out of turn 1 to start lap 2, we've settled down. Hopefully we can continue to try and push on, and maybe, just maybe, this car's race pace will be better than it was in qualifying. Carlos Sainz's next car in front, but you cannot sit in the dirty air for too long round here. Trying to be really, really careful on these tyres early on, but we're definitely still able to apply pressure to Carlos Sainz. Kevin Magnussen, don't think we're going to see him score points this weekend. Luckily, we've got a bit of a gap to McLaren and Mercedes further behind us. They really have not been strong early on this year. We can just see, we get very, very close there to Carlos Sainz's big save as we head down the hill. Doing my best Father Christmas impression apparently as well. But can we try and get around the outside of Sainz somewhere there? We just try to get the car alongside there. Upsets his rhythm as we head through the next couple of corners, down through Portier. But again, that Ferrari is just so good on traction. Are we going to be able to get the speed? Have a bit of a look down in towards the chicane. Yes, we are. Up the inside of Carlos Sainz will go. Oh, and a very, very robust move there. Forced the Spaniard out over the curbing, but we're absolutely taking that. No contact. P6 now ours in the Monaco Grand Prix, so, sorry, 7th even. So we're now back to where we started then in this race, and of course just whooped the tyres so hard there for one moment. We've just got to be a little bit careful with them again. 2.3 seconds up to Checo. Let's try and close that gap. But that's big round here. That is a lot of confidence. We know how good this Haas car is down the straights anyway, so if we can try and utilise that today, as that was too much curve through turn 1. Yeah, we can try and utilise that. We've got a good shot here. Oh, Sergio Perez there, a little bit of a mistake as we head through sector 3. Just trying to put the power down as best as possible through Anthony Nogues. Roll on the throttle, plenty of wheel spin there in 4th and 5th gear. But now we have closed up the gap to the Mexican. Oh, a catastrophic understeer though down it towards turn 1, and this is what you find racing around Monaco especially. You just get one little moment and it really can upset your rhythm there. But you know what, this car is fast around here at the moment. We're getting it positioned absolutely everywhere we need to, and are we going to be able to try and apply some pressure to Sergio in a similar way to what we did to Carlos Sainz? We'll try and get the nose to the outside. Not quite this time round, as that's going to be way too much curve there. Lewis Hamilton just up the road, starting to struggle a bit as well, I think.
Around a second faster than the car ahead. Keep this up.
There's 1 second of that faster around Monaco is not going to be enough there, but you can see again, we do gain a bit down the straight, so we can try and stay close. Oh, Perez a bit of a wobble there, there was no contact. Sergio trying to roll on the power in that Red Bull, but yeah, in the dirty air, you just second guess everything you're doing. You know, you've got to turn in that little bit early. Way! Yeah, perhaps we'll just tone it back for a lap or so again, get those tyres cool. Alright, 1 quarter's distance then of this Monaco Grand Prix, and again we've closed up the gap to Checo. Oh, trying to make a contact that time round. Apologies, Sergio. Just trying to potentially give him a little bit of a spur forward in this race as we try and make this Monaco circuit as wide as possible. You can just see there, tyres starting to struggle a little bit. Just noticed we've got an engine warning light flash up, so doesn't think it'll be anything critical. It is just the gearbox. See, with the exception of Bahrain this year, most components have hung on pretty well actually since that opening weekend, but yeah, fingers crossed we can just make it through. Won't have any major issues that are going to cost us. We are definitely quicker than Sergio Perez at the moment, but being quicker than someone is pretty pointless around Monaco unless you're in front of them. So you see heading down through this middle sector once more, trying again get to the outside of Sergio, get as much clear air as we possibly can over the front wing, plenty of curve through the next corner, and just a tiny bit of locking as we head into Portier, try and get on the battery as early as possible. And are we going to get close enough to have a look for a bit of a cheeky send again? Oh, we show the nose, but Sergio Perez having none of it this time round. Confident and assured on his brakes, knowing that we weren't close enough to do anything. We have to try and find a way around the Mexican, because I definitely feel like there's more to be had this afternoon, but yeah, it's just such a shame the qualifying pace was not there, as he's just going to set us up for a long day, as, yeah, we actually got around the outside of Perez slightly there, through Larascas at the final corner. Rear end wants to give way, but we are going to get the power down on Perez, but again, not able to do anything. Back down towards turn 1, he's going to be slightly offline as we head up the hill. Are we now going to be able to try and have a look there to the outside, maybe? Oh, a lot of nudges on the wall, but somehow we find the way around the outside into Casino Square. We'll have the inside for the next corner, and that's a move done on Sergio Perez there, rubbing up against the Armco on a couple of occasions, but somehow we avoided getting the front wing on there, and luckily the suspension on this Haas car apparently built very, very tough. We've got 3 seconds up to Lewis Hamilton up the road, but we are just still... yeah, still having to monitor everything there, as grip levels apparently are going to be falling away quite soon. Got no idea when we're going to box just yet. Whoa! Don't do that. Almost clipped the Armco on the inside. Well, we're getting up towards the pit stop window then in this Monaco Grand Prix, and it still doesn't look like we're going to see anywhere that you're going to be able to box and come out in clear air. So I'm honestly tempted just to hang out a couple of laps extra, see if we can get an overcut on Lewis Hamilton, but these tyres are not in a particularly good shape at the moment. We have continued to take time out of both Mercs, but Hamilton definitely struggling, as George Russell now, I think, trying to get a bit closer to Lando Norris up in front of him. Just take a look quickly. Lando Norris running up in P3. His teammate Daniel Ricciardo down in about P15. Maybe F122 isn't as unrealistic as we thought. The only thing that would make this race even more realistic is if Charles Leclerc somehow loses it from here, but we'll wait and see whether that's going to be the case. But yeah, I'm going to try and hang out a couple of laps extra over the pit stops, and ooh, that's cheeky. Very, very cheeky. But yeah, we'll see what goes down. And the Formula 1 car's in the pit lane. Yes, it is, as Hamilton peels in just in front of me. Charles Leclerc, Max Verstappen both into the pits as well. So everyone, yeah, as expected, is going hard. Now I just need to use some battery as well, try and hook up a couple of nice clean laps there. Charles Leclerc will come out in clear air. Max Verstappen might come out behind the Alpine, not too sure which one it is. As yes, you will. You need to look on the road rather than the mini-map, but let's continue to try and take time out of these guys as Lando Norris now leads the Monaco Grand Prix. There we go, Russell into the pit lane, Lando Norris doing the same, so now we are going to inherit the lead here in Monaco, but yeah, a few cars I think stuck in some dirty air. We are going to box the end of this one though, as hopefully Kevin Magnussen is about to peel into the pits. Get a confirmation of that, there we go, so K-Mag in, we are going to box the end of this one, but of course I can't tell the team that yet, otherwise Mark will moan at me. In towards the pit lane will come though at the end of lap 19, half a race on these soft compound tyres, is just make sure we get the car slowed down into the pit lane. But where are we going to come out then in comparison to Lewis Hamilton? Doesn't look like he's really lost anything to George Russell and Lando Norris there as we head down into the pit lane. Optimal on the turn in. Come on Haas, give us a good stop. 2.4, that's what we want to see, and this might actually be quite close as we head out of the pit lane then with both Mercedes cars there as release the limiter. Lando Norris just in front of me still, but you know what, we might have got the jump on both Mercs. There we go, up to P4 then of the Monaco Grand Prix as George Russell left with nowhere to go on pit exit there, and that was just trying to hang out. We're on cold tyres though as here comes George. I'm going to try and give it up that easily as we head down the hill. We'll still have the inside line. Oh, big lock-up, I apologise. Oh, we're almost 3 wide there as Hamilton tried to get involved. We do get a warning for a collision with George Russell. I think that's completely fair. But, yeah, up into P4 then of the Monaco Grand Prix. Very, very robust defending from our fellow Brit. But we know we've got pace over these cars as somehow Lando Norris was able to pull away from them. So neither Mercedes then. I wonder if they got held up in the pits or something. Yellow flags out further back. Just now trying to get some heat into these tyres. I think it's one of the Alpha Tauri's. Not a betting man, but I think it might be. No! It's not one of the Alpha Tauri's. It's Kevin Magnussen out of the Grand Prix at the same place that Ayrton Senna had to pull over all those years ago. I don't think K-Mag's binned it. I think he's just had a mechanical failure, but not what our teammate needed here, as we've got 4 seconds pretty much to close it to Lando Norris. Could we still score a podium? Oh, there we go. New fast lap of the day. That's just how hard we're pushed at the moment and just how quick this car is as well. Why are we lacking so much qualifying pace when the race pace can be this good? 15 laps to go then of this Monaco Grand Prix, and you can see now we are really all over the back of Lando Norris. Of course, we will have slightly fresher tyres than the rest of the field to the end of this one, as we nudge up against the wall there at the final couple of turns, but are we going to find a way around Lando Norris? I mean, we're taking good time out of Verstappen as well. I said this weekend would be damage limitation. There is still, if we can get round Lando quite quickly, a slim but possible chance that we can outscore our big title rival here in the Max Verstappen. We are looking very, very racy come Sunday, but we've got to try and get around this McLaren first, and that is going to be no easy feat. And away around this McLaren car at the moment, getting really, really held up behind Lando Norris. And you can see the gap to Verstappen now starting to go the other way, ever so slightly as well, as almost into the back of him. So we head through the hairpin there, just trying to offset his line as best as possible. This McLaren, though, definitely one of the slowest cars down the straight, so we can try and get a good run, which we absolutely will not this time round there. And you can see, despite that, we're still gaining in on him by the end of the Monaco tunnel, but 12 laps to go of this Grand Prix. Perhaps, yeah, just getting a little bit impatient now with the McLaren, man. It's so difficult, I must also add, to commentate whilst driving around Monaco. I've got no idea how we're going to cope in the My Team series, because those cars are absolute animals as well. But we've got to find a way around Lando Norris, because the gap to Verstappen is now back up to 7 seconds. So of course every lap we sit behind him, not only are we losing time on the Dutchman, but he's also pulling away. But at some point here I think Verstappen might even now be too far away to do anything, but we have to try and get around Lando Norris in this Grand Prix there. We're losing time to the Mercs behind us again, so Lando clearly struggling, clearly just trying to bring that car to the flag. And you can see now that might be one of the best runs I've had out through the tunnel this time round. Are we going to get close enough to go for a send? Oh no, not quite. Oh, that was super close between myself and Lando Norris, but we've got to just keep him on his toes. We've 7 laps to go here from Monaco, and we are still pushing to the absolute limit to try and find a way around Lando Norris. Trying to jump Verstappen, that's gone. Any hopes of that in this GP are over, but we want to try and get some silverware here from the Monaco Grand Prix after all the struggles today. Remember, on lap 1, momentarily, we were down to P10 in this Grand Prix, and with no safety car interventions or anything like that, we have really worked out to try and push this car back up the roster as best as possible, but Lando Norris at the moment is making that McLaren as wide as he possibly can. He wants to try and get a podium here as well. Of course, it looked like Saturday, with just a couple of minutes left of qualifying, he would have been on pole here and in prime position to try and win this race, but hasn't quite worked out for Lando today. He certainly hasn't had the pace compared to Max Verstappen and Charles Leclerc, but can we just find a way around him and potentially ruin McLaren's potential podium party? Lando Norris, bit of a mistake there off of the chicane, but still cannot work a way around him at the moment, as we'll attack the curbs through this final sector. Are we going to be able to get a run in towards the Rascas? No, again, another wobble, as our Lando Norris really started to struggle in that McLaren car, but we're overheating the tyres as well. It's just whether you sort of sit back for a couple of laps and then go for it again, or you keep just trying to apply the pressure to the other car. There was, whoa, big mistake. Yep, let's just sit back for 2 laps, and then we'll go all out to the flag. 3 laps to go then, and these tyres are absolutely destroyed at the moment. We have just cooked them by pretty much this entire stint, but still are able to apply pressure to Lando Norris. I'm wondering whether it's worth just trying to sit right on his gearbox actually now through the hairpin, and then seeing if it will bring us any closer as we head into the tunnel. But again, that's been another good run actually on the McLaren car. Are we going to get close enough this time round to have a look to the inside? Oh, we just hopped over the curbs there, and Lando Norris will hang on to the position. George Russell has got to be watching this behind and thinking there might be an opportunity if something happens between the pair of us, but we have to keep trying it at the moment on the McLaren car there, and that is the closest we've been to completing the move all afternoon. I mean, whoa, we had been very aggressive there, but Lando Norris hops over the chicane, does keep the position, and to be honest, I think in that moment he was within his right to do so. One more lap to go then of the Monaco Grand Prix, and we are still staring at the OKX logos on the back of that McLaren car at the final corner. Try and roll on the throttle as early as possible. We will get closer back in towards turn 1, but not close enough again. And will Lando Norris just about do enough here? We're really trying to be careful as we head back up the hill, gaining a little bit more on the McLaren car once again. Oh, a little bit of a wobble there up the top of the hill as we try and get on the throttle on the way back down the other side. It looks like Charles Leclerc will do enough to take the win here at the Monaco Grand Prix, is trying just to see if we can stick under the gearbox of that McLaren as we head through the next couple of corners. We're going to get one chance at it down in towards the tunnel. No, we're not. Big moment of wheel spin there. We had to go full commitment on it, otherwise we weren't going to stay close enough. But Lando Norris, it looks like, unless he does something really badly wrong in the final few corners here, is going to get the podium in the Monaco Grand Prix. We're not going to lose out as badly to Max Verstappen as I originally thought we would. It's still going to be 5 points. The gap doubles at the top for the Dutchman, but through the final couple of corners of the Monaco Grand Prix, Charles Leclerc, he's done it. Max Verstappen will come through for P2. Lando Norris in P3. That is not the line through Anthony Noakes. Hold on ahead of George Russell, please. No. Sorry, George. That was cheeky.
Okay, pick up rubber and bring it home.
That's it then for another nail-biting Monaco Grand Prix. We were on the edge of our seats the whole time, but they've come through to take a stunning victory. Anthony Davidson, what helped them deliver this result, do you think?
Well, this was a real team victory. They put together a solid strategy today that appeared well suited to the conditions out on track. The driver did everything that was expected of them in the moment to really execute the team's plan to perfection. A shining example of how F1 really is a team sport.
Looking at the podium, you can see that red suit familiar to fans across the globe. A world-class win for a world-class team. Ferrari, do it again. So let's see what effect this result has had on the drivers' standings. Max Verstappen should be pleased with his performance, making gains at the top of the table. Let's focus on the driver of the day, Anthony Davidson. Who do you pick?
I have to give it to Mr. Monaco. They fought so hard and had incredible pace at times, so I don't think anyone else did a better job today.
It's time to check out the constructors' standings. Ferrari take the lead at the top of the table. Another team that will be satisfied with this Grand Prix is Alfa Romeo, whose good result moves them further up the championship. Well, what an end to another fantastic weekend of racing. Thanks to everyone who joined us, and we'll see you for the next one.
There we are then, the end of the Monaco Grand Prix, and Charles Leclerc, he's done it. He will take the race victory today. Got the lead at the start, never really looked back, to be honest. They're comfortably 2.5 seconds clear of Verstappen to the flag there, controlled the pace right from the get-go. Lando Norris P3 ahead of myself there. We were cheeky with George Russell on that final lap, but, you know, we'd pushed so hard to hang on ahead of Lando. You know, we're going to get our elbows out to try and defend my places there. And yeah, Russell 5th place means that 5 cars from 5 different teams inside the top 5 there. Lewis Hamilton P6 ahead of Perez, Sainz, Bottas and Pierre Gasly rounding out the top 10. That might be the first points this year for Alfa Romeo. We'll have a look in just a moment. There is just Kevin Magnussen, our teammate, failed to make it to the flag. But that means championship-wise, 10 points now cover the top 3. But we are down to 3rd. I had forgot about Charles Leclerc being as close as he is. So Charles Leclerc now up to 3rd place overall in the Drivers' Championship. Sainz still in 4th there ahead of Lando Norris, who jumps Perez there. And Hamilton and George Russell both dump our teammate Kevin Magnussen a bit further down. Bottas, yep, that is his first points of the year. They're ahead of Pierre Gasly. And you can see further down the rostrum, no other changes. Constructors-wise, though, tied at the top between Ferrari and Red Bull as we leave the Monaco Grand Prix, 191 points apiece. We're still 3rd there, a little way ahead of McLaren, but we need to really keep it on our toes at the moment there. McLaren and Mercedes both certainly will be threats later on this year. Alfa Romeo and AlphaTauri now with points on the board as well means it's just Aston Martin and Williams yet to score after our opening 7 races. But thank you all so much for watching this video. If you have enjoyed, please do make sure you leave a like, get yourself subscribed as well, and we will be back very, very soon when F1 heads to Baku. That, hopefully, should be a better track for us. None of these videos would be possible without the help of our channel members, so a massive thank you to all of the names you see on your screens currently for helping support the channel. You can join them by clicking the join button down below, and yeah, thank you once again to everyone that continues all the insane support on my work.